Guys, welcome to Big Sister. I just want to talk with you all today about having personal courage. I'm going to share a story with you guys and just talk with y'all a little bit about that. So what is personal courage? Personal courage is kind of like integrity. You have integrity, it's doing the right thing even when no one is around. Personal courage is also doing the right thing despite any opposition or losing popularity, okay? Personal courage for some people means even it's a matter of life and death. If they go along with everybody and if they abandon their beliefs, they will live. But if they believe in certain things, they could die. So depending on where you're at in the world, there are people who have had their lives taken, who would rather die, people who have been burned at the stakes back in the days, even face the guillotine, hanging, torture, whatever, execution, because they stood up for their beliefs. And these are extreme and just, true examples of courage, because dying is scary. Some people say, oh, you have nothing to worry about. I'm like, have you died before? Unless you're dying in your sleep. We still don't know if that's comfortable. We just believe because we're sleeping, but I personally believe that even in your sleep, when you're dying, you know it. So that might be scary in itself. But let me stick to the topic. Personal courage. Having personal courage. I served and I retired from the military. I enjoyed the military. It was a wonderful experience. It was not something that initially I wanted to do. I had other plans. I was attending college and things of that nature. But life and circumstances, I decided to make that decision, and I'm glad that I did. There are a lot of people that would tell you horror stories about the military and how terrible it is, but I will say the military on the whole is not. But there are people who are in the military who bring their nasty ways into the military, and then, they get some rank and authority. They're going to try to do certain things against others. That's not correct. That's not right. But it has nothing to do with the military. They have always been that way. But now they have some rank and some authority. They may use the authority and what's the word I'm trying to find? Let me think for a second. Basically being in the military, especially when you're in a position of authority, you have power, okay? You have access to things and people, and you have access to many things, many different forms of mediums and things that you have that you should be using towards a mission and to be helping people. But if a person already has a poor character and they're given these things, they're going to use what the military has entrusted them with to do good and to build and to carry out the mission and to lead, to be destructive. Okay? And I remember experiencing this while I was in the military. I was going to talk about personal courage here. So I was in a leadership position and I was working in a clinic. And so outside of the chief of the clinic, I was the next person in charge. The chief of the clinic, normally, they just go about doing their jobs and whatever it is that they have to do. And normally, the position I have, I am running the clinic, making sure everybody's doing the things that they need to be doing. The chief of the clinic may tell me certain things that needs to be done. I will relay to the chief of the clinic, what is happening, so on and so forth. But I'm basically the one who has hands-on management of everything that's going on. So this person, we had a specific worker that has been problematic, okay? And the chief decided that she wanted to do something against this worker. She wanted her fired. She wanted to get rid of her. And she decided that she was going to make up some allegations against this person, and she wanted me to go along with it. And I told her no. Regardless of whatever this woman has done or wasn't doing, she was not this. She has not done this. And yes, while she can be a pain in the butt, we can't just make up stuff to get rid of her. Well, I told her I was going to do it. And she went ahead and did it anyway. And I found out about it. And I reported her. What she did was wrong because this woman was going to lose her job. Well, long story short, she didn't like that. I want to say it was addressed. The lady did get to keep her job. What she tried to do did not work. But now what the chief of the clinic started to do now is she started to target me. Now, I was in the uniform, so there's some limitations. She's a civilian and I'm in the uniform, and she's trying to do things and making things up and all this stuff, wanting to get rid of me. And it was so weird because somehow this stuff just started happening. She did not want me there in the clinic anymore. And somehow this group of individuals within this circle just decided, oh, well, that's what it's going to be. So they decided to move me and put me into another clinic where someone else is already in charge. Okay, so this person is already in charge there, and here I am, moved out of my post, moved out of my position to go work in this other clinic where someone is already in charge. We're the exact same rank. Okay, we're both in lead. She's in a leadership rank, so am I, except she has the leadership spot. So here I am, this floaty leader. Okay, I'm just floating around, and I am not in charge there. And I guess word got out because the clinic that I was in and the clinic that they moved me to, we worked together. They were in we were in the same field, but one side was more technical and the other side was surgical. And I guess, I'm now labeled as a troublemaker and everything. And I would tell you that the leader of that clinic, another female, just decided that she just had it in for me. I mean, this woman did so much stuff to try to ruin me, just trying to find fault. Now, keep in mind that even though we were the same rank, I outranked her as far as the amount of time I had in the military and as far as how long I've been in my specific rank. Okay, so I outranked her, but now she, by the virtue of her role, she's in charge and she is out for me. Nitpicking, trying to find things, having problems. I'm talking about she's just doing things. Now I'm coming to work, I'm doing the things that I need to do. If anything ever comes up, I am professional enough and seasoned enough to know, hey, look, I have to go handle this. This is what I've taken care of. This is what I've done. This is what I'm going to do when I arrive. She didn't want me to do anything like that. Okay. She was just trying to find so much. And then what surprised me was just seeing how people were just going along with it. Something must have happened. Why is she not running her clinic? Why is she in our clinic all of a sudden? Oh, what's the narrative going on about me? That I am this troublemaker and I am a problem. But what did I do? No one knew the story and I never said it. I stood up for someone. This person was trying to lie, was trying to do wrong to this person, and I would not go along with it. And not only did I not go along with it, I stood up for this person to ensure that what they were trying to do to cause this person to lose their job or to get some sort of, have something on their file that would affect them, I said no and I stood up. And because of that, I was ostracized. I was kicked to the curb. And they were literally trying to jack me up so badly. When it came time for my evaluation, they were putting things on my evaluation that was just crazy. Like I was just irresponsible and I was just problematic. And it wasn't true. I want to make a note here that I'm saying they and this person rather than their name, even though I am now retired and can say their names. I choose not to. And that's a part of integrity, a part of personal courage. It's having integrity and character. So I have the personal courage to not go along with a plan to ruin someone's career. I also have the personal courage when it was done without me to go and say this is going on and to stop it from happening. And next, here I am now. They're trying to give me this bad evaluation. I have the personal courage to stand up to all these individuals and say, I am not signing this evaluation. This is not going to happen to me. And went all the way to the top to see the most senior person on the top of the food chain as far as within the chain of command. Because what happens is a lot of times people who are when you are just people, let's say you have your supervisor and then you have someone who's above them. A lot of times people that's about 1 or 2 levels above, at least 1 level above and to the left and right, they are all buddies, okay? And they're all in the same fishbowl together. So this person's going to tell them something and they're just going to believe it. Maybe they have the same character. So the person may really tell them what they tried to do and that I stood up to it. And because they're the same, they would be trying to get people fired and lie on them. They all coming together to try to destroy me, you know? But I went to the top. When I saw that they were trying to do that on my evaluation and screw me over, and then they added lies on there, I was like, I need to go see the hospital commander. I need to go see I went all the way to the top. And everybody started scuttling about and running around because the things that they're trying to put on this evaluation about me was not true. And if I am so quote unquote problematic, then they should have had a record or a file. That's how it works in the military, to show, hey, you did this on such and such a date. You did this. It was addressed. You repeated again, or on such and such a date, you did that. We addressed it a second time. We took this action. Then you come back and say let's go back and see if this correctional action worked or if we need to do more. None of that is there because I was not that person. But because I stood up for the right thing, they all had it out. And why? Someone just say something. Oh, whatever they said. Oh, well, why is she here? Why did she get removed from her post? You see, they'll automatically believe that. Well, you've been removed from your post because you're a bad person. And I just wasn't going around freely. I'm still maintaining my integrity now and still having the courage not to just go up there and say, well, she tried to fire this person. I don't even think the woman who she tried to fire, she wasn't even aware of what happened. She does not know the details of what this woman was trying to do, because I knew if I told her, then this woman would have been able to go to, because this woman was a German. And she was a local national working with the military. If I had went and told that lady what the chief was trying to do, she could go to those locals and the chief would have been in a whole lot more trouble, because now she's doing something against, a host national. So here I am trying to do the right thing, not telling her, not divulging to this woman, but yet the chief was doing all this stuff. And they're moving me. They were never supposed to do that, but they did it. You can't just move someone out of their slot in the military. Every slot that we get into, this stuff comes from, DA. It comes all the way down. They look and say, here, there's a slot. Department of the Army. They look and they see we need a soldier here. You put them in that position, and that's where they belong. That's what I was sent to Germany for. But this person, being angry, they just did something in-house. That even come from the higher up. They just did a swap. Get her out of here. And it was going on and it was happening, and now all of a sudden this person is counseling me and doing all these different things, and then they have these other people who are a couple ranks above me trying to get me, because everybody is just, no one asked me. You're just a troublemaker, and we're going to get you, and we're going to punish you, and we're going to move you over here, and we're going to find fault in everything that you did and what you're doing. What did I do exactly? So I stood up for myself. I had the personal courage, regardless of who did not support me, regardless of who believed that I was some sort of a dirtbag, to stand up and say, this is not correct. This is not right. You are not going to give me a poor evaluation. You have no record of me doing anything. And the reason why that is because I haven't done these things. And you have to make up things that's clearly on this paperwork because you have nothing. I have not given you anything to make you feel like, oh, I can get you. You understand what I'm saying? They will do things such as if the weather is bad, there was a lot of snow. The weather is bad, so therefore, yes, I got up early, but the streets are bad, so we have to wait. Or very early in the morning, for example, when it's snowing, you can't just go and just drive, especially where I was at. There was black ice, and I was living in places that it was like a high and an incline. So circumstances and situations, that's normal, things that will happen. And you let them know, hey, I may have to, I'm going to run a little late because this is what's going on. We're iced out up here. We have to wait a little bit, blah, 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 blah. I mean, if I got into a car accident, they would have written about that. So they were trying to find things like that. They will take that situation and be like, oh, always late for work. That's not true. I know better than that, especially once I hit a certain rank. Regardless, you just don't do that. From you are a young private or you go in as a young officer, there are things that you learn you're not supposed to do because it's going to be to your detriment. But yet they wanted to try to paint this picture of me. But I had the personal courage. I had the personal courage to stand up to all those who try to get me, all those who try to mess up my evaluation. And I was determined. I went all the way to the top. I stood before the higher ups. I was able to express myself, and they had to take off all that nonsense they were putting on my evaluation. Now, you can't tell a person who is doing your evaluations, you can't tell them what to put on there. But if they don't have certain things, if they don't have, if they're trying to put things on there, trying to give you like a low evaluation and things like that, they have to have proof of that. And if they don't have it, they have to take it off. So they took it off and everything, took off the nonsense and the bold lies that they told on it. But they kept my evaluation very basic. Now, I was able to show all my past evaluation where I've always had outstanding evaluations, outstanding reports. This is not who I am. How is it even the individual, the lady, the chief, in the past, my evaluations were outstanding. So how is it that all of a sudden I'm supposed to be this ragbag? So the higher ups were able to see that, and they had to take those things off. Okay, they still went ahead and gave me a very basic evaluation, which is like, fine, keep it basic, but you're not going to lie on me. And what I looked at is this situation with them is not going to define me. And one of the things that I realized, guys, is when you do the right thing, even if you're around a group of people where the majority is going along to get along, when you're doing right and you know there is truth on your side and you have not done anything wrong, there's going to be maybe just one person, perhaps one person, okay, whether it's within that group or outside of that group, that's going to see that you're telling the truth, and you're going to be vindicated. Even if at first you feel like you may get thrown under the bus, when you're doing the right thing and you have the personal courage, it's always going to work out for you in the end. We're living in times where people are cowards. They're cowards, okay? They are going to go along and get along. They're going to follow the bully. Remember, we talked about bullies in my other videos. They're probably bullies in school, bullies in their personal life, and now they get a job and they are in charge and they do these things. So people, out of fear, they're going to go along and get along. And then you may find other people. You thought you were cool with them, but the minute it looks like they've got something on you, you see how people will change. I'll do a video one day and talking about when you're in need or when you're down on your luck, you're going to see who people really are. But they were not able to overcome. They were not able to get me and do the things that they want to do, because when people know that they're doing things wrong, they never want you to escalate the situation. They never want to be found out. And what they'll try to do, they'll try to start lying and doing things and trying to tell a different story. But when you know you are doing right, you need to have the personal courage to stand up and to speak your mind, even if the majority are in charge. Yes, sometimes you have to use discretion and discernment, but you should never allow yourself where you are going along with people, you're harming someone, you're signing off and putting your name and making a statement against people that's not true, because it's going to come back on you. Even if that person gets fired and they lose their job, even if all you didn't sign a statement, but someone came in and talked to you and you've already been told ahead of time what to say against someone, and you weren't even there. You have planted a seed for your life. And so that was just very important to me, that I'm going to plant good seeds. I'm not saying I always make the right decisions and everything, but when it came to that, I was not going to go along with it. And sometimes when you stand up for what is right, people, that's going to make you very unpopular. They're going to go against you, and you're going to be surprised at the amount of adults who are so vindictive, who are so cutthroat, who are even weak-minded, because they're just going to go along with other people. And you have to also be very careful that, unless you know someone's character for yourself, you come into work and people are warning you about people and telling you stuff about people, or you get to school and they're, let me tell you about that person. Never just go along. They might be telling you the truth, but what I'm saying is, you judge a person by their actions and not by what you have been told. Because all those people in that clinic, I don't think the doctors were really doing anything, but certain individuals, they were really doing wrong, because now this other female that I work with, who knows the chief downstairs who I stood up against, all of a sudden now she's doing all kinds of stuff and painting this picture as if I was incompetent, as if I'm just such a bad person. And I wasn't going to let her do that. I mean, she was really, really, really getting disrespectful. I will never forget that. I mean, she was getting to the point she was snatching things out of my hands, coming into my office, snatching stuff out of my hands. And that was when I was like, you know what? Enough is enough, because there's not too many times I'm going to allow anyone to just come in and behave in a threatening manner towards me. And if she can come into my space and do something like that, she's egging for something, okay? And she's going to get a full omelet, okay? So before I go that route with her, before I allow anyone to take me down this road where I feel like I have to defend myself or scramble that egg she trying, I was like, nope, I'm better than this. And I got on that phone and I was like, I need to see the commander. I need to see this individual. Bring them all out. And you saw them scattering like ants and roaches when I was making those moves, because they've been doing wrong. People that know that they've been doing wrong, let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to gather together and try to get their stories together. They're going to be trying to write this thing, make sure their stories are aligned. They won't even sleep well at night because they're wondering what you're going to do, what you're going to say. They have to think of the things that they have done. But when you know you've done the right thing, and when you know you are taking steps and having the courage to stand up for what is right, regardless of what the majority is saying, you don't have to try to remember anything. You just know what you need to share, what you need to speak on. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to be strategically placed, maybe not right away. Sometimes you'll hit some roadblocks. But if you continue to have that courage and you continue to move forward, there's going to be a person that's going to come along your path who's going to hear you. A person that's going to be unbiased. A person that they don't have their hand in the pot with everybody else. And they're going to see clearly. They're going to see clearly who's doing what. and you're going to prevail. And you know what's going to happen when you do the right thing, when you choose not to attack other people, not to lie on people, not to go and make up things against people, and stand up for what is true and what is right. You're planting a seed right there. So then when you are in need and you need help, truth is going to bring someone in your path. God is going to bring someone in your path that is going to help you and defend you. And they're going to see what's what. So that's the message today, guys. Stand up for yourself. Have personal courage, because we're living in times where there are a bunch of cowards. A bunch of cowards that by themselves, they're really cowards, but they come together and form. They come together like some, like they're, some Transformers. They come together like how they used to do with the Power Rangers. They come together and this, they're the Raggedy Rangers. Come together with their lies, because on their own, they can't defeat you. So they come together as one, try to come against you. But when you know that you are doing the right thing, you can stand up to an army, and you're going to know that your truth and your integrity is going to come forward, and it's going to make the discouraged, and they're going to see who's truth and who's false. And that's one thing that I will say about the military. I know there's a lot of you hear some things about the military. You may have even seen things. I've seen things on the news, soldiers who have died, people who were done wrong, people who have been killed, supervisors did things in that. I want you to understand that is those individuals, that those young individuals probably they probably tried to get things done within their unit, but they only went so far, and so they were in this fishbowl. And a lot of them, a lot of these individuals that I've read about that's been hurt in the military or died, a lot of them were new soldiers, or in these units. And sometimes when you're within a unit, just like how I explained in mine, was if I did not know, if my father had not taught me to read the regulations and to understand, I would have thought there was no way out for me. I mean, I was being mistreated. I was being bullied in some way, in a very passive aggressive manner. Okay. And I felt like I was cornered on every side. And then on top of it, having this other senior leader coming in and snatching things out my hands because I would not sign a document that she wants me to sign to have these false statements on it. If I did not have it within myself to go outside of that fishbowl, I would have either just really went off on her or done something really drastic. There's a lot of soldiers who have taken their lives. Or if it was a dangerous situation, something could have happened, right? I've never felt like I was in danger, but I'm just saying, in those cases, those individuals were probably now dealing with people who they're like, oh, we're going to do something to her. We're going to do something to him. You understand what I'm saying? And so they do these things, and then people think, oh, it's just the whole army, the whole military is like that. Humans, what it boils down to, guys, are humans. And just as you'll find people who will do wrong and do dirty and do horrible things that happens to be wearing the uniform, there also are people who are standing up to the rules and who do follow the rules and the regulations and are not for that. And what I did, I had the personal courage to push past the majority right in front of my face who are trying to close in on me for doing the right things. And I pushed past them. And if I went to someone and they seemed like they were sounding like them and didn't want to hear it, I'll ask to go up higher and go up higher and go up higher until I finally got to somebody who was not influenced by everyone else and just wanted to know the truth. And in cases they were like, bring him in here. Tell me what you told me about her. Tell me what you said. And they have these big eyes, just huge, like, what? Because normally how it works is they go in before you and tell their story before you get in there. Okay, and make their impression. But in this case, I was allowed to sit into that office. They spoke to me first. That was that thing. That was so different. They spoke to me first, allowed me to sit in there. Well, I'm sure they probably spoke to, the individual before, but they sat down and spoke to me, and they let me sit in that room, and they called them all in there and said, tell me Okay, so tell me what it is that you told me about so and so. And there you could see it in their eyes. They look so shocked. And to sit there and hear the lies that they were telling about me, and he when they said whatever, he looked at me, he said, "Is that true? Did that happen?" Oh, they were wilting like some flowers. So what I'm saying is, when you do what is right and you know that you are not doing what's wrong, that means even when the people at the job, they're behaving a certain way and they're doing certain things, you go into work, you do what you need to do. You don't allow them to pull you down to their level, because sometimes even if they're wrong, if you go there with them and act unprofessionally and you're going to get them back and you're not going to do this and that, it's going to reflect on you. But if you do what is right and you keep your hands clean, when it's time to stand before whoever, or when it's time to really make those reports, or when it's time to take that complaint to the union or whatever it is that you are, or your chain of command or whoever, truth is going to prevail. It may not seem that way, but it's going to prevail. But it takes personal courage. It means I am not afraid, or even when I'm afraid, I will do it afraid, because it is the right thing to do. And people that do wrong, and they do evil to people, and they're very malicious and vindictive, they're planting seeds. They're planting seeds. And as I said before, you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple tree, and it's going to keep bringing apples from season to season. So people that do wrong to other people, it's going to come back. It's going to bite them in the butt. They're going to get back the very thing that they've done to other people. And remember, payback does not always come the exact same way. It can come in very different ways. They can get the exact same thing that they've done to you, but it can happen in other ways too. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And that's what you have to believe and know. So hold on to your personal courage. Do what is right regardless. I experienced it. I experienced it while I was in uniform, and I stood up and I spoke and I held my ground, and there were positive results from it. So let me know if you've had any experiences like that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out by my email for this channel, or just leave a comment below and I'll reach out to you.